Hello everyone. This is the second chapter in third unit. It's the digital signature and authentication protocols. In first chapter of third unit, we discussed about the authentication functions. What's the authentication function? Do the authentication function verify whether the message which is encrypted is modified or not by the third party using some functions like message encryption, message authentication code and hash functions. After that, another concept is digital signature. What is the definition of digital signature or the meaning of the digital signature? In hash functions, we just introduce the name of the digital signature. In where we introduced that digital signature, on the message, we calculated their hash function. After that, calculating the hash value, we encrypt the message using sender's private key. Encrypting the message using sender's private key is encrypting the message using sender's private key is called the digital signature. That concept is discussed in this chapter. So what is the digital signature? So it just looks like a normal signature and it follows the message authentication functions. But it does not addresses the issues of lack of trust. Digital signatures provide the ability to verify author, date and time of signature, and also it authenticates message contents, and these message contents can be verified by the third party to solve the disputes. Hence, it includes the authentication function with additional capabilities. So, what we can say that digital signature is adopted from the message authentication function. One of the message authentication function is a hash function, and it does not addresses any issues regarding the lack of trust, and it helps to verify the author, means who create the signature, the date and when the time is the signature is generated, and it authenticates the message contents so that they can be verified by the third party to resolve the disputes. Hence, it includes the authentication function with additional capabilities. So what are the properties of the digital signature? Digital signature, it depends upon the message sign, and it must use the information unique to sender to prevent both forgery and denial. It must be relatively easy to produce. It must be relatively easy to recognize and verify. It is computationally infeasible to force. With a new message for existing digital signature, and it is infeasible to forge with fraudulent digital signature for a given message. It is to be practical to save the digital signature in storage. So there are two types of digital signature. One is direct digital signature and another one is arbitrated digital signature. Direct digital signature. It involves only the sender and receiver, and it assumes that the receiver has sender's public key. The digital signature is made by sender signing entire message or hash with private key, and it can encrypt using receiver's public key. The most important thing is to sign first and then encrypt the message and then apply the signature. Here the security depends on sender's private key. This diagram represents the direct digital signature. Consider this diagram. Look carefully this diagram. Here this is the message. This diagram is one of the uses of hash functions which we discussed in message authentication function. Here this is the message m. On this message m we are calculating the hash function, and this hash function value, the output of the hash function is encrypted using sender's private key. Here the encrypted hash value and the actual message both are concatenated. This part is considered as digital signature, and then after that we are encrypting the entire message and digital signature using the key K. Here what we can say that we are encrypting the message. We are encrypting the message after applying the signature. This part is called the direct digital signature. It implements the concepts of direct digital signature. What's the direct digital signature tells? Encrypting the hash value with the sender's private key itself creates the digital signature, and it is encrypted. Finally, this entire part, message and the applied signature, is encrypted using key. So this part, it tells it has two components. One is h of m. What's h of m? H of m tells the hash function. The output of the hash function is encrypted with sender's private key, and it is original message is concatenated. Here there are the two components, 1 and 2. Both are encrypted using key K. So whenever it reaches to the receiver side, the receiver first he has to decrypt the message using same key. The key which is used in encryption, that key only is used in the decryption. After that, for receiver, we can view two parts. One is the message and another one is the hash function, and that hash function value is encrypted with the sender's private key. So, and then a receiver opens the calculates the hash function and compares with the sender's hash value. Before that, the receiver has to decrypt the computed hash value. For that purpose, receiver uses the sender's public key. Why he uses the sender's public key? Because sender encrypted the message with the sender's private key. So that receiver uses the sender's public key to decrypt the message. This is the simple way to generate the digital signature. This is the simple way to generate the direct digital signature. Here, what is the where is the digital signature is created? He applying the hash function on the message and encrypting the hash value with the sender's private key is the way to create the simple digital signature. Going to next one, arbitrated digital signature. It involves use of arbiter A. Arbiter means a third party. It involves a third party. This third party validates any signed message, then dated and sent to the receiver. This signature is verified by the third party. It requires a suitable level of trust in arbiter. Here we have to trust the arbiter while processing the or while checking the digital signature. It can be implemented with either private key or public key algorithms. Arbiter may or may not see the message. In arbiter digital signature, here we involves the third party A, and we have to validate this third party validates any signed message, and then it's sent to receiver. It is a suitable level of trust. Means here we have to trust in the arbiter, and it can be implemented with either private key and public key algorithms, and arbiter can see any messages. Here we shown some arbitrated signature techniques. Look at carefully. Here there are three methods. One is the conventional encryption. What's the meaning of conventional encryption? Is the symmetric encryption. Here a common key is used between the sender and receiver. And in this position, the arbiter sees the message. In this position, arbiter sees the message. So what happens here? In the first step, let X be the sender. X sends a message to A. X is sending a message to A. Who is A? A is an arbiter. Means here he is a trusted party who checks digital signatures and resolve the conflicts when any conflicts are encountered between X and Y. So X is a sender. Initially, X is sending a message to arbiter A. What that message includes? Here, the actual message. What message wants to send to Y? Send it to Y. Who is the Y? Y is the receiver. So it consists of actual message M. After that, here H of M. What's this H of M? What we know the H of M means on the message hash function is applied. Since we are using symmetric encryption, Here there is no need of using sender's private key or sender's public key, etc. Why? Because it's a conventional encryption. In conventional encryption, we are using only one key, that's a common key. So for that purpose, based on that conditions, just h of m is calculated. It is not encrypted. Why it is not encrypted? It is not encrypted because of conventional encryption. After that, here identifier X. What this identifier X tells? It tells the ID of the sender. Here digital signature generated by the X, ID of the X are total encrypted with the EKXA. What's this EKXA? The key shared between X and arbiter. The key shared between X and arbiter. So X to A. So X to A. X what's do? What it X is a sender. What he performs? He creates a message. After that, he creates a generated digital signature. For that digital signature, he places the identity of the sender, that is identity of X, and total it is encrypted with the XA, that is the key shared between A and X. Coming to the second scenario, here the message is transmitted from A to Y. A to Y. How it is transmitted? What message is included while transmitted? See, look here. Here this message concatenation operation EKXA identifier XA of H of M is totally completed. This message is generated from X to A. That is placed as is by the A. After that, it places the timestamp and it is encrypted with the key shared between A and Y. See, once again, A here, A is transmitting, sending the message to Y. What message A has to send to Y? A has to send a message sent by the X to A. So here this entire part which we observed in the first step, that is M, EKXA of identifier X, H of M, this completely total part of this message is included included in the message created by the arbiter, and it places the timestamp, and entire one is encrypted with EKAY. EKAY means the key shared between A and Y. The key shared between A and Y. Like this, in conventional encryption, the arbiter sees the message. Where the arbiter sees the message? Here, see, observe, M. Just we are applying simply M. We are not at all encrypting M with any private key. Here we are not at all encrypting M with any private key. Just we are simply placing the M. This is some drawback in conventional encryption. Arbiter is this message. Next, moving further step, conventional encryption where arbiter does not seize the message. So what we can observe that is nothing but on this message M we are applying some encryption methods. So look at here. So X is transmitting message to A. Who is A? A is an arbiter. Who is X? X is a sender. So what this message includes? Look here, H of M. Here this M. How this M is there? It is encrypted with the KXY. What's the KXY? The key shared between X and Y. Since we are using conventional encryption, we are not using any private keys and public keys. Here only a common key has to be used. Let it think that common key is KXY. M is the message and it is encrypted with the E using key XY, and again identifier X is placed. Similarly, what we have done in the conventional encryption where conventional encryption where arbiter does not seize the message. Here on this message we are encrypting, the message is encrypted with the key KX1. Like this, the same concept used in our conventional encryption where arbiter sees the message, but here the message is encrypted. With what key it is the message is encrypted? Using EKXY. Next, coming to the public key encryption where arbiter does not seize the message. Here X is transmitting a message to A. X is sending a message to A. What this message includes, since we are using the public key encryption, we can encrypt the message either with private keys and public keys of the sender or receiver. So on this message we applied what here, see, look at here what we applied. we applied authentication. What's the authentication service does? Encrypting the message with the sender's private key. Who is the sender here? X is the sender. So we encrypt the message R with X. And next, again, this is encrypted using the confidentiality service. What the confidentiality service do? Which with what key we encrypted with confidentiality? By encrypting the message with receiver's public key, we provide the confidentiality. So this is the message, yeah. This is the authentication, and this is confidentiality. And here it is placed that ID of X. So finally, encrypting the message with the sender's private key is itself acts as an digital signature, and that message is not visible to the arbiter, and it is totally encrypted with the private key. So the message, what is hash function, we have to assume that it is a digital signature, and the message is completely encrypted with the sender's private key. As same similar, A transmit the message to Y in the similar manner by placing the timestamp X. Here, X is the sender, Y is the receiver, A is the arbiter, M is the message, and T is the timestamp. So, here a digital signature standard algorithm is there to generate the digital signature. US government approved the digital signature scheme. It is designed by NIST and NSA in early 19. It is published as an FIPS 86 in 1991. It is revised in 1993, 1996 and then 2000. It uses secure hash algorithm. SHA stands for secure hash algorithm. DSS is the standard. This digital signature algorithm is the standard. It is also called as digital signature algorithm. These both algorithms are similar. It includes the alternate of RSA and elliptical curve signature variants. So, what is the digital signature algorithm? It creates a 320-bit signature with 512 to 1024-bit security. It is smaller and faster than RSA. A digital signature scheme only. It is a digital signature scheme only. Its security depends on difficulty of computing discrete logarithms. It is a variant of Egamal and Sconnier schemes. Here, RSA approach and DSS approach. Based on this RSA approach, this DSS approach is developed. See, look at this diagram. We are more familiar with this diagram. Where we have saw these diagrams, this diagram we encounter in message authentication functions and in digital signature, direct digital signature. This algorithm, we are most familiar with this algorithm. What this algorithm? Once again we just recollect the concepts of this algorithm. On this message, the hash function is applied. This hash value is encrypted using sender's private key. The message and hash value both are concatenated. After that, it's a message authentication. What message authentication tells? It has two levels. One is the upper level function and lower level. Upper level includes the message and lower level includes the encrypted hash value with the sender's private key. Don't worry. In some cases, we represent the KRA. In some cases, we represent PRA. Both are same. KRA is similar to the PRA. Here P means the public, means the K. Instead of K, we are using the P, private key. Here P means public key. And this message similarly receiver calculates the hash value and compares the both values. In coming to the digital signature standard algorithm, just see, look at the modification you observe here. Instead of encrypting with sender's private key, what we are doing? We are applying the signature function. For this signature function, we are using the global key, private key and some key value as the input. Means that after applying the hash value, this hash value instead of encrypting with the sender's private key, we are applying the signature function. So the receiver is having the three parts. One is M and SR. The same verification. Here the signature is performed and similarly verification has to be done. So verification also we are using the global public key. Since we are using the private key of A, here we are using the public key of A. Same S value is given as input and R value is given as an input. After that both values are compared. So this is the algorithm. Here a DSA key generation. It shares the global public key values P, Q, G. It chooses the Q as a 160 bit. It chooses a large prime P is equal to 2 to the power of L, where L is equal to 1, 51221024 bits, and it is a multiple of 64, and q is a prime factor of p minus 1. We have to choose a g value such that g is equal to h to the power of p minus 1 by q, whereas h and h to the power of p minus 1 by q mod q2 must be greater than 1. We have to choose the private and public keys, and hey, we have to choose the private key and we have to calculate the public key. We have to choose the x value in such that x should be very small when compared with the q, and we have to compute y in the formula of y is equal to g to the power of x mod p. And next, this is the signature creation part. To sign a message M, the sender must generate the random signature key K, and K must be a random and it should be destroyed after use and never be must be reused. Here the signature pair can be calculated R and S. If you observe the diagram, these two inputs are given to the receiver side, G to the power of K mod P into mod Q, K to the power of minus 1 H of M plus X into R mod P. It sends the signature R comma S with message M. This is the verification part. After receiving the message, the signature has to be verified. Here the verification consists of two parts, R and S value. So to verify the signature, the receiver has to calculate W value, U1 value, U2 value, V value. What's the formula? W is equal to S inverse mod Q. U1 is equal to H of M into W of mod Q. U2 is equal to R into W mod Q. V is equal to G to the power of U1 and Y to the power of U2 mod P into mod Q. If V is equal to R, then signature is verified.